Anything you all want to do today? Postures, body parts. Quads? Okay. We all need it. Yep. Okay. Why would your quads hurt in a squat or a chair pose? What are you not activating? Your glutes and your hamstrings, right? So what's going to be the common tendency? I talk about this in chair pose all the time. In human movement, okay, this is called a hip hinge. In forward fold in yoga, it's a hip hinge, but you stack the hips. So like the hips, the knees, and the ankles are all going to stack here. And in a hip hinge, human movement, your butt would be behind your heels, right? So when you go into chair pose, I tend to see like this, right? And when this happens first, glute med and piriformis don't turn on, right? And now the quads are overfiring. So when you get your butt back this way, right, now that's going to start to put everything back here. And it's going to balance my quads out, right? This is what's going to balance your quads, your hip flexors. Quads with rectus femoris is the one in the middle. That goes patellar tendon, so it goes behind your kneecap, and then it attaches up here. That's the one that's going to flex the hip. The rest of them are going to extend the knee, right? So we'll work on that a little bit. We'll try to get some of this shit open. This tends to be icky for us. This lateral quad, I work on this with y'all a lot, is where we like lay on our backs and we let our knees fall. We pull our heel this way, right, to get this. So this is an icky one. This will contribute to some of that external rotation as it kind of tries to weld in with the IT band and pull the leg out. So we'll work on some of that too.
We can get 7 people across in those 2 rows in the middle. Yeah.
Robin, hold your hand up for a quick second.
It's about a minute delay.
Yeah. I just want to make sure your butt's not going to be in the camera on downward dog, just so you're comfortable. I mean, you know.
I think her butt is in back.
I think it's probably going to be back, yeah. Yeah, it looks all right. Yeah, I see you waving. Yep, you're good. All right. So anything else besides quads? I'm going to hit all the hips. We're going to hit a potpourri class, a little bit of everything, so for sure. All right, we ready? Take a nice seat. Sit up nice and tall. Close the eyes. Take a few breaths. Full breath in, complete breath out. Here in the beginning of class, as we close our eyes, we center, right? So we want to come here. What does that mean, right? It means come here to this moment. And how do we find this moment? With our breath. Right? A lot of you hear me talk about the middle of the hourglass all the time, right? That's right now. Right? The bottom of the hourglass, that's the past. Top of the hourglass, that's the future. Right? Neither of those you can get to. You can remember the past, right? You can maybe think what might happen in the future, but the only thing that you are sure of right now is that middle. So we say when we turn to our breath, it brings us right here to that space, or to that place. So take really your true breath, your first breath is an exhale, right? When you popped out, your lungs were filled with fluid and you had to clear them, right? Push out. Then there was an empty cavity. So gravity assisted with pulling air into that cavity. So that's why as we get into a couple of these refinements, right? That's why we bring intention to these spaces. So right away, just listen to yourself breathe. There's our first refinement. Then we're going to slow down the beginning of the inhale because we tend to gasp that breath. So when we breathe, we tend to go like real fast. So we're going to slow that down. The exhale, we tend to taper off. It's something like, and we want it to be where we're pushing the air out the whole way. So we're going to bring some intentions to those places. We're going to count out the breaths to find a balanced action. So if the inhale is 2 or 3 seconds, make the exhale the same 2 or 3 seconds. Some of you are going to find Ujjayi breath, where the air begins to rebound off the back of the throat. We say that's full consciousness. You can hold the breath close with Ujjayi. And as the breath turns to movement, on the next inhale, let the arms lift. Let the exhale bring the thumbs to touch, and the pinkies, and the pointer fingers, and the ring fingers, and the middle fingers. It's like the petals of the lotus closing. Now that breath goes to that space between our palms. We say it travels down our arms into the back of our heart, from the back of our heart out in front of us. And one time together to initiate our practice. Together, the sound of Om. All together. Deep breath in. Beautiful. As we softly bow our head to our hearts to each other's hearts. Inhale, lift the head, open the eyes, release the hands. All right, let's start out in child's pose. How many people do you think are here? 40? 40? Over? Yeah, I don't know if they'll be able to take them up. So, here in child's pose, your knees, your toes are touching, your big toes, right? Your knees are wide to the edges of your mat. Yeah, it's going to make a space for your belly to then settle down. Arms are up overhead. Now here, we tend to chill a lot in child's pose, right? But we're going to use this a little more dynamic. We're going to activate it a little bit. So take a couple breaths, right? And just settle for a moment. Then we're going to start to activate. So look at your hands. Pointer fingers will be straight forward or turned out a little bit. The misalignment is that they turn in. Now you're going to claw into the floor. You start to hug your hands into the midline. When you do that, like into the center of your mat, you're going to start to feel energy come up the arms. You're going to keep the forearms lifting up, and you're going to lift the inner biceps up. And when you do that, you're going to feel your shoulders move out away from your neck. All right? Now slide your forehead off the mat. So you're going to start to activate the muscles in the back of the neck, the muscles in the upper back. Yeah. Now, as you keep the arms lifting up, as you keep the head and the throat sliding towards the ceiling, soften the chest down towards the mat. And then you get the opener coming up the arms, shoulders, chest, back, side bodies. And then as you look forward, walk your hands to the right side of your mat. Root that left sit bone back into that left heel. That's going to be below the waist. Now breathe above your waist. Work those spinal erectors coming up the spine on that left side. Get that lat, middle upper back there. It attaches to your arm, your humerus. So you probably feel that starting to stretch here. QL's low, closer to your pelvis. Intercostals are the muscles between your ribs. And then inhale, come back to center. Soften down the middle. And then when you're ready, walk your hands towards the left side. And then you take a breath. You root the right sit bone into the right heel. Right? Remember, that's below the waist. Now breathe above the waist. You can even, on an inhale, you can take a big inhale on the right side of your ribs to the front right corner of your mat. And when you get all that to expand, walk your hands to the left even further, and you'll peel. Those are those intercostal muscles between the ribs. And then inhale, come back to center. Next inhale, come up, all fours, hands and knees. Hands an inch or two in front of your shoulders, knees an inch or two behind your hips. Low mountain, right? So we're in a pose here. You're hugging hands in. Look how nice and straight we are with the spine. Look at the lumbar filled in. So you're pulling the belly button towards the spine. Here's your shutters. I always call these the shutters. This is the top of your ab. You got to close the shutters. That's how you engage that upper ab. Now slide the throat towards the ceiling. Bring your chin to your chest, like just a little bit, so that your gaze, where you're looking, is right across your fingertips. And now breathe. Then when you're ready, cat-cow. Inhale, arch the back, lift the sit bones, reach through the crown of the head. Exhale, round the back. Look to your belly. Lengthen your sit bones towards your heels. Your inhale, arch. Your exhale, round. Now, move with your breath. So if the inhale was 2 or 3 seconds, that's how long it's going to take us to arch through our back. The exhale was 2 or 3 seconds, how long it's going to take to round into your back. So we're linking, right, breath to movement. Couple more here. Anybody? Radiohead. One more. And then we'll come to a neutral position. So find a flat back. You got to watch out. You talk about Radiohead, people get upset. All right, take the breath here. Take the knees back a few inches. Yep. Now take the right leg back, ball of the foot on the floor. Yep. There we go. Now we want to extend it from the hip, down the back of the leg, and out of the bottom of the heel. But make sure you're holding a micro bend in the knee, because the common tendency is that the knee wants to go up to the ceiling, and then that's going to create the misalignment. Instead, micro bend the knee, and then pull the knee up towards your waist. You should feel your quads engaging. Exhale, lower that right leg down. Remember, we said rectus femoris, so we're pulling up. Take the left leg back, ball of the foot on the floor. Now, as you reach back out of the heel, reach forward out of the crown of your head. Breathe and expand side to side. So we're organically expanding in all directions. But don't lose the belly. I see some bellies here, like some wells in the back. Pull that belly in. Yep, pull those shutters closed. And then lower the knee, walk back in, all fours. Tiger pose. So we're going to turn on the glutes and the hamstrings, extending through the hip. So on the inhale, you're going to take your heel to the sky. You can even look up. Exhale, you're going to bring your knee to your chin or your chest. You can look under. Yep. Let's do 5 on the right. We'll do 5 on the left. Now, when you take your heel to the sky, that's extension. These are the muscles we want to turn on. So it's like you're holding the ceiling up with your heel. Yeah. The common tendency is that this is going to happen. So keep sweeping the inner heel out so the toes are pointing straight back behind you. And then after your 5, lower that right knee down. Make sure your hips width apart when you lower the knee. The misalignment will be going to the midline. So keep the hips width. When you're ready, take the left heel to the sky. Yep, that's the inhale. And then the exhale brings the knee to the chin or the chest, and you start to look under. Yeah. These are good, y'all. Good pace. Right? We don't want to move too fast here because our breath is still pretty chill, right? It's still taking maybe 2 seconds or so to inhale, 2 seconds to exhale. So how long we want to move through the pose. And then after your 5 on your left side, lower that left knee down. Take a breath. Bring the right hand behind your head. The inhale is going to take the elbow to the sky. Exhale is going to take it across to the eye of that left elbow. Let's do 5. Inhale, take the elbow to the sky. Exhale, take it across the body. Now, just like we talked about as we were extending before, twists are going to happen above the waist, specifically in your thoracic spine, your middle upper back. So as your right elbow goes to the sky, drive your right knee down into the mat. And then after the 5, lower the right hand down. Bring the left hand behind your head. As the inhale takes the elbow to the sky, let the exhale take it across the body. Now this time, as your left elbow goes to the sky, drive your left knee down into the mat. So opposing forces. Nice, y'all. Keep drawing your fingers into your head, but pushing your head back into your fingers. And we're feeling the back of the neck stay activated. And then after the 5, lower that left hand down. We'll meet back in low mountain. Like in low mountain right now, your muscles should be shaking. That's how much hugging in you should be doing. Like if you look at my arm right now, you could see it's already starting to quiver, right? That's how much muscle. It's not this. What's next, right? This is a pose. This is called an isometric engagement. Now hold all that power and step back to plank. It's a powerful pose, plank, right? We want to hold this power. Now use this to push back to downward dog. Yeah. So see, the energy that you collect, we want to hold on to. It's easy to let that kind of disappear, And then you got to do it twice, right? So we want this shit to be as efficient as possible. You hear me say all the time, in exercise, which we're doing our asana and yoga, I try to make $1 out of 15 cents all the time, right? How efficient can we make this? Now, in the first downward dog, you could bend the knees. It's like we're softening up that dog a little bit. You could pedal the heels. Maybe you swivel the feet a little bit. And you just move and check in. And then come to a neutral position. Now, just like we did before, claw into the floor and hug the hands into the midline. Keep the forearms lifting up. Keep the inner biceps lifting up. Now, your chin's going to try to fall to the middle of the mat. Don't let it. Slide the throat back so that your cheeks or your ears are in line with your biceps. Yeah, there's activation in the neck and the upper back. Pull the belly in, pull the shutters closed. Now engage the legs. So sweep the inner heels out. That shoots up into glute. Hug the shins in, inner thighs. Pull your heels to your butt, hamstrings. Pull your kneecaps to your waist, quads. Now maybe straighten the legs. Yep. Inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, lower chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, baby cobra. Take 3 nice breaths. So scapular retraction is where we bring our shoulder blades to the midline, right? So squeeze your shoulder blades back. But then depression means we take them down away from our ears. And then after your 3 breaths, lower the chest. Push up through plank. Back to downward dog. Now, if it felt better to keep your knees bent, keep your knees bent. If it feels better to straighten your legs, straighten your legs. And then inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, lower, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, baby cobra. Take 3 nice breaths. You could stay low, you could come up high, but as the shoulders go back and down, let the back of the heart come forward out of the front of the chest. And then after your 3 breaths, back to chaturanga or lower your chest. Push up through plank. Back to downward dog. Reach the right leg straight back, step it through, lunge. So that's how we strengthen hip flexors, right? By hugging that knee to the chest as you step it through. Now, front knee, the toes are pointing, front foot, the toes are pointing straight forward to the front of the room. Your knee is stacked up on top of your ankle. So if your knee is in front of your ankle, you're going to move back, so your knee's right up on top of your ankle. Come up high in your fingertips of your blocks, so your spine looks like this, neutral. What's the misalignment? We don't want to reinforce that shit, right? That's foam back. We're trying to get back to this neutral position, so find where the space is. Now push down, that's top to bottom. Front to back is going to be pull your front heel back and your back toes forward. Side to side is going to be hug your shins into the midline. So now you're pulling a lot of power up. Pull the pelvic floor up. Pull your belly in. Shutters. Heart. Throat. Gaze, you're looking out in front of the mat. Reach through the crown of the head. Inhale, come up, Virabhadrasana, 1 crescent. Charge the legs, just like you did before. Draw that left hip forward a little bit. Keep pushing down. Reach up. Reach your thumbs to the sky. You're going to feel the back of the arms engage. Now maybe curl back into the pose a little bit. Yep, keep that front knee on top of the ankle. Keep letting the back of the heart lift up through the front of the chest. 1 more breath. And then exhale the hands down to your blocks. Flip them up nice and high. Slowly straighten your front leg. Re-square your left hip forward and down. Yep, look forward. That was below the waist, right? Now we got to go above the waist. So start to breathe the spine tall. And then you're going to fold, if you want to the inside of that right thigh. Keep looking out in front of the mat. That'll keep your spine long. What happens to your back if you look to the middle of your mat? Your back rounds, right? The exact thing we're not trying to reinforce. Now remember, like, yoga's only going to give you the offering, right? None of this stuff is a demand, right? So you have to feel what's going on in the body. Feel how that left hip wants to peel back, so you're going to draw it forward. Feel how the back wants to round, so you're going to extend it. Yep, and then maybe go deeper in the pose, 1 more breath. Look forward, bend into that lead knee. Place the hands down, downward dog, move through one vinyasa. Keep it slow here, right? Remember, stay with the breath, the 2 or 3 second thing. It's easy to start moving fast, right? That's going to be beyond your breath. You're not jogging, right? You're not running, so your breath is still pretty calm here. Raised up a little bit from before, right? Because we started to muscle up a little bit more. From downward dog, reach the left leg straight back, step it through, lunge. It's easy to look at the tools as regressions, right? Blocks are progressions, right? They're giving you the optimal space that you want to be in. Now, let's say you're using the blocks and they were all the way up high, right? Maybe in a couple breaths, you lower them down a little bit. Maybe you're trying to get your hands down to the floor. So work the pose. Keep pushing down, right? That's the muscle energy. But the organic is going to be reach the back heel back, reach the front knee forward, reach forward out of the crown of the head, right? Expand side to side. But keep all that because here we go. Inhale, come up, Virabhadrasana 1 crescent. When those arms come up, like you're holding 20-pound weights, right? There's an intention to coming up. Bend into the lead knee. It'll stack back on top of the ankle. Square that right hip forward a little bit like you're hugging to the inside of your left thigh. Pull up from the pelvic floor again. Take that root chakra all the way up the crown, even beyond through the fingertips. And then maybe play with the pose. Curl back a little bit. Whatever angle you're on, root down, peel up, and curl back even deeper. Nice, y'all. And then exhale the hands down. Flip the blocks up. Slowly straighten that front leg. Re-square the right hip forward and down. Then look forward. Anytime you adjust your hips, the next breath you want to readjust your spine because the relationship will change. And then when you're ready, fold to the inside of that left thigh. Keep that spine long. Nice, y'all. Opening up the back of that left leg. Now here, the common tendency with the kneecap, it's going to try to push to the wall behind you on both of them. Don't let it. Pull both of the kneecaps up to the waist. Couple more breaths. We got to get into hamstrings kind of first, and then we can get into some of these quads, so we'll try to keep them from kind of cramping up on us a little bit. And then look forward, bend into that lead knee. Place the hands down, downward dog, move through one vinyasa. In your chaturangas, keep your forearms straight up and down. If your elbows fall back, it's usually because you're too long. And when the forearms fall back, that stresses the shoulder, the way the bicep attaches to the scap. It'll be like, it'll hike everything up. So you want to make sure you're holding that good space. From downward dog, take the right hand to the outside of the left calf or shin. Take the twist here. Now, on the left hand, keep pushing it down and forward. Yeah, keep that inner bicep lifting up. Inhale, unwind. Take that right hand down. Push the hand down and forward. Then take the left hand to the outside of that right calf or shin. Maybe peek underneath that right arm. Yes, one more breath. And then inhale, unwind. Next inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, lower chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, baby cobra. Exhale, lower back to chaturanga or lower your chest. Push up through plank. Back to downward dog. Exhale, lower your knees. Sit back on your heels. So the way to measure where you're going to be is your plank. Your shoulders will be on top of your wrist crease, and you'll be in dorsiflexion, which means your toes are going to be closer to your shins, right? Now, when I come forward, I'm going to bring my feet straight up and down. So my shoulders are going to go in front of my wrist crease. I never go here in my feet. That's too long. That's plantar flexion. We're never going here like a high heel. We're only ever here or here. Now, when I come forward, right, in my chaturanga and I bend my elbows, see how my forearms are staying straight up and down? That's going to help me keep my shoulders back. I'm not going to do that. We'll hold them up by weight. But if I go this way with my forearm, see how my shoulder wants to go forward this way? The way that your bicep comes up, attaches to the scap back here, it wants to do like that. So you got to make sure that you keep all this neutral, right? So that's going to be the idea. You have a visual. When you're in your chaturangas, notice that your forearms are straight up and down. The other action I talked to you all about last week is, it's like you got your hand on like the lids of jars and you're doing this away from each other. What that's going to do is create external rotation, and it'll feel like, this is your shoulder blades, it'll feel like these bottom tips come in, and what happens to the top when the bottom comes in? It goes out, right? That means that's how your back gets broad and open. In chaturanga, in any push, you don't soften between your shoulder blades when you go down. That turns off all the proper muscles. I'm still here. Right? See where I'm at in my upper back? As compared to that? That's everything turning off. Come on, let's try it. So inhale, come up. Exhale, hands down, all fours. Is this shit easier said than done? Of course it is, right? But yoga makes it fun. That's part of the game here. That's the challenge. Now, start out by stepping back to plank and have your shoulders on top of your wrist crease, and you're reaching your heels back to the wall behind you. So that's how you know your measurement's going to be right. If your feet are already up and down right now, you're too long. So tiptoe forward. Now push back, downward dog. Yep. Now when you're ready, inhale, come forward to plank. When you lower, knees count. You can lower your knees too. As you lower, you go forward of your wrist crease, but you already start bending your elbows right away. So everything lines, yes. Then come forward into the cobra. Yeah. Does that make sense? And if you need me, call me over and I'll give you a personal cue, right? Just like give me the look, like come over and help me. And then when you're ready, back to downward dog. In my classes, you do a shit ton of chaturangas, right? For sure. So we definitely want to make sure that we're doing these right. But I'd say sometimes y'all do 20 of those with me. It's a powerful pose. So you want to make sure you're getting them as efficient, as optimal, right, as possible. Let's try one more time. Work your breath, one vinyasa. It's really all about staying in that proper length. Yeah. Nice, y'all. And then you can always measure back to plank. If you're not sure what your distance is going to be, go to plank, take the shoulders on top of the wrist crease, and reach out of the heels. And then you can always go back to that neutral position. From downward dog, reach the right leg straight back, step it through, lunge. Spin the back heel, come up Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. So we're on what's called the balance beam. That means your front heel is in line with your back arch. Like if I drew a line right down the mat, you're lining that up. Front toes facing 12 o'clock. Back toes are like slightly turned forward. So think like 9 o'clock is right out to the side. You're between 9 and 10. Bend into that lead knee so it stacks right up on top of the ankle. Now, these are the muscles we're opening, the adductors. That's why the knee wants to collapse in. So you're going to root the left thigh back first. You're going to breathe and get tall up out of your waist. Yep. Now lengthen your right sit bone towards your right heel. And the knee will start opening out. Or like if I came up to you and I pushed your heel. You okay, right? I push your heel to the bricks. You're sweeping to the wall with the window and the door. And the knee's going out. Take the palm up. Slide back into that reverse warrior. Yeah, don't let that left thigh pop forward. Keep rooting that left thigh back. Like you're sticking your butt back to the brick wall on the left side. Yes. Now take that big breath on the right side of the ribs. And then curl back on the pose. One more breath. Inhale, come back up to Warrior 2. Then spin the hands down to the floor. Spin the back heel up. Downward dog. Take a breath. Reach the left leg straight back. Step it through. Lunge. Spin the back heel. Come up Warrior 2, side 2. Right, the common tendency is that we reach forward. So we lean forward. So if we reach back that little bit, it's just going to bring a little bit of neutrality here. Keep sticking your butt back on that right side. More, stick it back more. Take this back. That, yeah. The knees pulling in, right? Because this is what we're stretching. So take a few breaths here. When you feel you get the lift, now start opening the inside of that left thigh. There's not a lot of chill in Warrior 2. The only chill here is bring your gaze right over your middle finger. Yep, and soften your face. The rest of your body, full on. Now take the palm up. Remember the 2 or 3 seconds? That's how long you want to go back into reverse warrior. Yeah, whatever your breath is. However however long that time's going to be, that's how we want to move. Now bend into that lead knee if it's shifted back. Then take that big breath. Yeah, feel those ribs expand and curl back on them. And then inhale, come up back into that warrior two. Bring that gaze right over the middle finger. Then spin the hands down to the floor. Spin the back heel up, downward dog. Move through one vinyasa. Look forward, bend your knees, step or jump between your hands, swing your arms up, take a nice big reach. Pull that belly in, lengthen those sit bones down so the low back's nice and safe. Now breathe up. Now maybe curl back. Do that again, root from hip down into legs. Bend your knees a little bit. That's below the waist. Now breathe above your waist. Yup, now curl back into it. And then inhale, come up. Exhale, hands in front. Let your thumbs just come to heart center. We say our thumbs like flick our heart out. Let your eyes close. Take a few breaths. Full breath in, complete breath out. Now, mountain pose, right? We're just chilling. So the body, full on. You're hugging, you're sweeping heels out. You're hugging shins in. You're pulling kneecaps to waist, heels to butt. Pulling the pelvic floor up. The belly's in. The shutters are closed. You're pushing the hands together. You're sliding the throat back, right? Lots of isometric engagement. And then gently open the eyes, release the hands. An isometric engagement is when there's no movement. So concentric would be like where my muscle's shortening. Eccentric would be where it's lengthening. And then isometric is going to be when it doesn't move. And we do a lot of that in yoga. I try to do concentric and eccentric with y'all because it lets the muscles release a little bit. So most of it, though, is holding. That's mountain pose. Swing the arms up. Right hand goes behind your back, left hand to your elbow. See, hyperextension in the knees is the path of least resistance. I hyperextend in my knees, too. You just got to check in. And when you feel that you're hammering your knees back, you just got to micro bend them. And then pull your kneecaps up to your waist. Feel those quads engage. Exhale, release. Inhale the arms up. Swap side, too. And then draw your fingers up here to intensify that stretch. Yep. Work those shutters. And then exhale, release. Inhale the arms up. Butt goes back first. Utkatasana chair pose. Yeah, it's hip hinge first. Yep. Let those knees track the second toes. So if they're blowing in, widen them out. If they're blowing out the side, hug them in, sit back deeper. Yep, charge the legs. Core, lift your arms up, sit back deeper. Pull back in, core, lift the arms, head and throat back, sit back deeper. Yep, push down, rise up. Nice, y'all. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, place the hands, step or jump back, downward dog, move through one vinyasa. Squeeze those shoulders back. From downward dog, reach the right leg straight back, step it through, lunge. Spin the back heel, come up, bent arm to bent knee, extended side angle, Utthita Parsvakonasana. So same setup, right, as the warrior two. You're on the back. Your eye back on the left side. You're trying to open the inside of that right leg. Give you some support, right? Needs to be plugged, plug it in, and then let that bicep. It's right along your cheek. So if you look up, you're looking right up into your bicep. Yep. Now maybe your right hand goes down to the block of the floor. Inside the foot, a little more accessible, therapeutic. Behind the foot, a little more. Pull the shutters closed. Now rotate. So take the top of the ribs back and the bottom of the ribs forward. Yep. One more breath. Push into that front heel. Inhale, come up, warrior two. Take the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers. and bow to the inside of that right thigh, humble warrior. Look to the mat. There's that long spine we've been talking about. Now maybe start to reach the arms up. Yep, intensify that stretch a little bit more. And then exhale the hands down to the floor, spin the back down. Nice, y'all. Reach the left leg straight back. Step it through. Bring that knee forward if it needs to go, right on top of the ankle. Yep. Now, the common tendency is that side crescent wants to dominate. You got to open up that left side, and you got to engage that right side. So squeeze the top, open the bottom. You're going to take the hand down to the block or the floor, go for it. If you're going to rotate open, top of the ribs back and the bottom of the ribs forward. Maybe you look up towards the sky. Yep. And then push into that front heel so you come up tall into that warrior two. As the hands go behind your back, if the left pinky was under, right gets a turn. And then bow to the inside of that left thigh, humble warrior. Look to the front right corner of your mat. Yeah, breath is coming up now, right? Shit's getting real. We're starting to link poses together. Yes, that's where we're at, right? It's supposed to be a little hard here. Be in that moment. Maybe the arms start to reach up, intensify that stretch up the arms and the chest. And then release the hands down. Yup, control it. Spin the back heel up, downward dog. Move through one vinyasa. From downward dog, roll to the outside of the right foot. Stack the left foot on top or in front. Come into side plank. Do you want this shut? Is it too cold? Here we go. Whatever feels good. Grab a drink, wipe your face, wherever you want to be. Nice, y'all. Way to fire up a little bit there. How's the chaturangas coming? Making sense? That's a hard pose, right? No doubt. All this shit is hard. Right away, you just say, like, yeah, this is going to be a challenge, and then we're just going to practice, right? The shit that's easy for you is the things that are normally easy, right? If you can manipulate your strength-to-weight ratio or you're opening your hips, right? Some poses are going to be more accessible. Some poses are going to be more challenging. That's kind of the game, right? You just keep practicing. All right, inhale, come up. Exhale, hands down, all fours. And then turn your hands out. Yep, there's that stretch up the forearms and the bicep and into the pecs there. Pull the bellies in. What wants to happen? Belly wants to go to the floor, right? Don't let it. Pull that belly button up to the spine. Yep. Because now you can play if you want. So you can stay here. This would be an awesome place to be, right? You can walk your hands together so your pinkies touch. You can step back to plank. You want to go Mayurasana? Go for it. So I tend to show y'all from here with the knees wide and the toes touching. You can look forward, bring the elbows to your belly. And as you keep going forward, here's those glutes and those hamstrings to lift those legs. You could be from the plank too as well if you want. You'd come from plank. the block. We all got shit that gets in the way sometimes. So sometimes the block here will help you kind of get by some of that space. You put the block in the belly and the elbows on the block, and that'll help give you a little bit of space. And then when you're ready, inhale, unwind. Yeah, go for it. If you're about to try the pose, go for it. Yeah, go forward. Keep looking forward. Yeah, you got to bring your hips in front of your knees. Keep going, hips in front of your knees. Yes, yes, yes. It's a lot of work, right? For sure. It's a ton. All right, when you're ready, inhale, come up. Exhale, hands down, all fours. Yeah. And when you're ready, step back to plank. Here we go. Shoulders are on top of wrist crease. You're reaching out of your heels. You're pushing down. Now, don't let your chin fall to the mat. It's going to try to. Slide your throat back. Yep. Keep your hips up. Keep reaching your chest forward. Reach the heels back. Keep the belly working into the spine. We started. Don't let the upper back collapse. Keep pushing down. Keep breathing. Squeeze those biceps. Lock in those elbow joints. Keep working from the feet up the legs, up into the hips. I got to be honest, I forgot where we started. We have 10 more seconds. Now we have 5 more seconds. Keep breathing. Yeah, it's one of those moments that are hard, right? Okay, lift the right leg up, take it to the outside of your mat. Yes, bring it back to the center. Lift the left leg up, take it to the outside of your mat. Bring it back to center and lower your bellies. I just went with what was going on in the room, so. All right, take your right hand underneath your chest, bend your left knee, reach back, grab your ankle, your foot, or your strap. Let's get into these quads now. So this will be kind of like our opening one, all right? So before, I've been talking to you all about this the past like maybe week or two. If you pull your heel to your sit bone first, you're going to bring yourself into anterior pelvic tilt. Like your belly button's going to go forward. And you're trying to bring your belly button to your spine and your pubic bone to the mat or your sit bones to the backs of your knees. So before you pull your heel, pull your belly button in and bring your junk into the yoga mat. That's going to be like, that's the front of your pelvis. Sit bones to the backs of my knees, right, would be like thinking from the back. Now draw the heel towards your sit bone. You'll notice as soon as you neutralized your pelvis, the quad stretch got better. Then when you pulled the heel, it was able to, right, go even further. Tight quads want to pull. This is anterior pelvic tilt. Belly button forward, right? Butt going up to the sky. And then these spinal erectors are just getting crammed up. So it's because these muscles are tight. So we're going to try to open these up and let the pelvis settle back a little bit. Now watch the boing as you release. Swap the hands. So the left hand goes underneath. You bend the right knee. Grab the foot first, but neutralize the pelvis before you pull the heel too far. Then start to draw the heel towards the sit bone. See, it's like the natural progression of life, right? It goes right into yoga. You take a breath, you set a foundation, you engage, and you express, right? That's how everything's going to progress. You'll notice that throughout the pose, you'll probably be able to recheck into the belly, re-lengthen the sit bones to the backs of the knees, redraw the knee towards the sit bone. Because in about like 20 or 30 seconds, your body will let loose. That's usually about what it takes. And you'll get like 2 of those in the types of openers we're doing. And then watch the boing as you release. Place the hands middle of the chest. Nipple line. Take the shoulders back. Curl the toes. Charge the legs up. Core. Push up the chaturanga. Take a full round of breath. Yep, push up the plank. Take a full round of breath. Then push back to downward dog. Nice, y'all. Right, it goes both ways. We want to be able to control it. Take the feet wide, walk the hands back, come into squat pose. So we want our heels to root. If your heels aren't going to root down, you can always take the blanket, okay? You roll it up and you put your heels on the blanket, or roll up the back of your mat so that your heels can be here. And this will help lift us up a little bit. Now, we want our knees to track our toes. That'll be safest for the knees. Right here on the inside of your knee is a little divot, right? Like made for the pose. So you're going to put the back of your arm into this little divot here. Now you're going to hug in first because we got to engage groins and adductors before we stretch any muscle. We want to engage first. Now push your elbows out, and there's the stretch. Now draw your elbows down into your feet, like towards your feet, and you're going to lift your spine up. Yeah, you can start to activate that upper back a little bit. Now, you can stay here. If you want to work crow, you're going to lift your hips up. We're going to place our hands down. My knees are on the outside of my arms. I can stack them on the back of my arms if I want a little more support. Then I'm going to walk my feet together so my big toe mounds touch. And I'm going to look forward. And as I look forward, the weight's going to start to go forward. My feet are going to get light. When my feet come up, I'm going to pull my heels to my butt. I'm going to push my hands down into the floor. Grow. Yes. You keep looking forward. Yeah. Yeah. So where's all the weight going to be? Where's the big prime movers in our body? They're all here, right? How much weight is up here? Not a lot compared to what's down here, right? So you need to make sure that you're balancing. Remember, balance isn't always equal. Most of the time, you're going to overbalance one side, right, to bring the other side up. And that's what you're doing. The more I look forward, right, the more I'm bringing the weight forward, the easier it is to hold it all up back here. Yep. And then from here, let's meet all fours, hands and knees. And then when you're ready, step back to plank and back to your mat, and you roll it over like this, and then you put your knee on it. And that'll give you a little more cushion for your knee as well. Yeah, so now your belly's moving away from your thigh. Now bend your left knee, reach back with your left hand, grab your ankle, your foot, or your strap. If you be careful your hamstring. If you need to, shift back this way. In your ear. Keep hugging your elbow in. Maybe look in your ear. Keep hugging your elbow in. Maybe look up. Look up. Yep, keep drawing that heel towards the... Yep, keep drawing that heel towards the sit bone. One more breath. Sit bone, one more breath. Now watch the boing. Like, what is happening here? I just can't do it. Now watch the boing. Like, what is happening here? I just can't do it. But if you need the knee pads, now you know where to go. If you need the knee pads, now you know where to go. All right, take a couple breaths. All right, take a couple breaths. All right, when you're ready, reach back with that right hand. Bend. All right, when you're ready, reach back with that right hand. Bend the right knee. Grab the ankle, the foot, and the right knee. Grab the ankle, the foot, and the strap. Keep working the belly. Pull the shutter, the strap. Keep working the belly. Pull the shutters in. Get nice and tall. Yep. Shutters in. Get nice and tall. Yep. Then that left arm can come in front. Plug it in. Then that left arm can come in front. Plug it in. And then the hand goes. Yep. And then the hand goes. Yep. Up. Walk the feet forward, and you walk the feet forward, and you can work from here into that. Can work from here into that donkey kick as you kick up. Okay? If you donkey kick as you kick up. Okay? If you want to hit a headstand or you want to do